Why do you keep looking? Why do you keep looking for information about your ex? Why do you keep being drawn to their social media, drawn to talking to people about it, drawn to constantly replaying the scenario around in your head? Well, the initial part of this is you're basically still in shock and you're in denial. You're still trying to process what happened to you, why it happened, and you're trying to understand what you're going through. You still can't believe that your illusion has been shattered, that what you thought was real really wasn't, that it was just a facade, that it was all make-believe. Now, you also want to see that they're hurting too. You're looking for some type of validation that your relationship meant something. It meant something to them, right? So when you're looking for information, when you're seeking out, you're hoping to see that they're miserable. You're hoping to see that they miss you or they're thinking about the situation as much as you're thinking about it. You want to believe that it meant something. You want to believe that and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether it was 6 months, a year, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. This all plays out the exact same way. And that is where you're looking to get some type of validation. Guys, I did the same thing. I would look for information and I would hope to see something to give me some type of idea or some type of reassurance that the relationship actually meant something. But here's the thing. These people aren't wired the same way you and I are. They don't think about things the same way. They don't have an investment in the relationship because it was all based on an illusion. It was all based on lies and deceit to try to get what they wanted. So here's the problem is the relationship was real to you. It meant something to you. You were invested in it. You put up with the emotional abuse. You put up with the crazy scenarios, the gaslighting, just everything that was going on because you fundamentally felt that there was something more there, that you felt that every relationship has problems. Every couple struggles. It's normal. So you were thinking that everything you were going to was part of that normal struggle, part of that normal churn that people talk about. Now, some of that churn is other people talking about narcissistic relationship, and sometimes it's just the normal banter. I think part of the problem, or one of the ways that we get in trouble, is these type of conflicts seem normal. They're talked about so often that you begin to think that you expect it, right? Men and women are different. They don't communicate well. So there's this just internal struggle. Women act a certain way, men act a certain way, and your ex was doing that. So you were trying to make sense of your relationship, and when you were in the middle of that relationship, you still had value. You still provided narcissistic supply to your ex, or attention to your ex, or however you want to talk about it. But you had a fundamental value to that relationship, and they had a vested interest to try to keep you going along with the game. Okay, so in the sense of that, you thought it was a real relationship because they were mimicking back certain things to you, and they would give you these breadcrumbs, this little bit of validation to make you think that the relationship was real. So the problem is it wasn't and isn't real to them. That's the reason why when these things go down and either you finally, it happens one or two ways. Either you finally say, I've had enough, and you put a boundary down and say, this is it. Things have to change. And in an instant, they can turn off and it's like you never existed. They might pretend in the beginning stages that they're upset. But what you'll notice is, especially if you're dealing with a toxic person, that it's all a facade. So as soon as they realize that their techniques that they've always been able to utilize before to get you back under control aren't working, they move on to something different. It's like you don't exist. It's like the relationship had no value or had no meaning. And realistically, and I hate to say this, is that's absolutely the case. It didn't have any value. Well, let me back up. Yes, it had value and meaning to them because they were getting something from you, but there wasn't an emotional connection. It was, a trade for services. You were providing them something, and they would give you a little bit of attention to keep facilitating that. So whenever this relationship breaks down and they discard you, you are looking for validation to prove to yourself that you're wrong, that this isn't that this can't be, that there has to be something there, that they're faking. Here's the crazy part, that they're faking not being interested in you anymore and having they don't care about you or have no value because they're trying to make you feel bad. I went through the same thing. I would look for information back in the early stages of this. I would look and I would try to find something, and it's not there. And it drives you crazy because you're like, your brain cannot process it because it doesn't make any sense. How can you have spent X amount of years, in my situation, how can I have spent 22 years with this person? I've had, most of my adult, or at that time, I think it was half of my adult life had been spent with this person. How could it be a facade? How could it be fake? How could it not mean anything? How could it be thrown away like that? And in my situation, there wasn't any cheating going on. I just got so frustrated and burnt out, I couldn't deal with the stress and the chaos anymore. And it's very subtle, right? I've talked about that before. It wasn't like it was overt. It was just this slow progression that I just couldn't deal with anymore. And whenever your relationship, no, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether your relationship falls apart in the way I just talked about. It doesn't matter whether they found somebody else. Maybe they found somebody else who is now a new source of supply, and now you have no value and they've moved on to someone else. You think, you're like, okay, well, it's one of two things. You think, well, maybe they're just with this person to try to make me jealous, or you think, well, why are they so happy? And I've talked about this a lot, but you forget about how your own relationship started. It's real easy to get caught up in this moment, caught up in this situation and what's happening right in this moment, to not be able to take a step back, to back up a little bit, to get a little bit higher and look down on the situation and be able to see what is really going on, and to remember how your relationship started. It didn't start bad. It started, you thought it was good. You would not have married this person or got into a serious relationship with this person if you didn't think it was real and you didn't get pulled in. If you didn't get, sucked in that you had to be with this person because, it was like fate or destiny, or they're your soulmates or whatever. And you got sucked into that illusion, and you forget that is what they're doing with this new person. If there is a new person in the scenario, is exactly the same thing. So the problem is you're trying to find answers. So you keep looking to try to find answers. You keep asking people to try to find answers. You break that no contact to try to find the answer that explains your situation and convinces you that it was real, that it wasn't an illusion, that what's happening right now is the illusion. And I'm sorry, but that it's not real. It's not really what's going on. And the problem is the more that you look, the more pain you cause yourself. If you allow yourself to be tempted to look for information, then you look more and you find more stuff, and nothing good comes from that. I've talked about that before in other videos, but I thought it was a good idea to bring this up again. So you're looking to try to prove to yourself that what's happening isn't real, that there was something there, that a time that you invested in the relationship meant something. Now, like I said earlier, it did mean something to you. So you can take some peace in that, because it did mean something. You didn't throw away time. You were invested in a relationship that you were trying to make work. And there's nothing wrong with that. Okay, so all of us picked the wrong person. Okay, you know what? You did your best, however long it was. If it was a couple of years or 10 years, or in my situation, 2 decades, it's okay. You tried your best to make the relationship work. You made your mistakes, you did your positive things, but it was doomed from the beginning When you're dealing with a toxic, narcissistic type person, it doesn't matter. And if you can take that step back, if you can pause for just a moment and look at the situation, you'll see the red flags. You'll see the little subtle things that were happening. More than likely, you'll remember a time where they told you to your face exactly what was going on and who they really were. Even back then, we didn't want to believe it. So if you find yourself stuck to where you're looking and you're seeking out information and you're doing that, and I would venture to guess that what I just said is going to strike a chord with you, that you're going to go, crap, yep, that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm trying to validate, I'm looking because I want to see that they're unhappy, that I want to see that they miss me, that the relationship meant something to them. And you're not going to get it. What you might get, what I did get, after a while is you would get, you'll see like memes or something like that, basically how they're the victim. How they, it's so sad that they were lied to, or so sad that, that they were there for somebody, that I was there, but the other person just couldn't see what they had in front of them, right? I mean, and the problem is every time you look, it makes it worse. So I hope that helps you understand why you're drawn to do it. And maybe it'll give you a little bit of clarity so that you can think about it and go, you know what? I don't need to look. I don't have to do that to myself. I know enough of what happened. I can take a step back and I can look at my relationship and I can see what the actual actions and the words were, what was being said and what was being done, how I was being made to feel, and really see the relationship for what it is. Okay. All right, I'm going to wrap this video up. If you want to add to the discussion, please do that in the comments below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. And if you also haven't gone over to the Dad Surviving Divorce website and signed up for the newsletter, please do that. I would really appreciate it. And I will chat with you guys in the next video. It gets better. It gets better. It's hard, but it gets better. All right, I'll chat with you on the next video. Take care. Bye.